Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Debbie. This is my crafty den, and today I have decided to make some tags. So I haven't done this for a little while. I did my postcards last week, and if you haven't done or if you haven't seen that video, you should definitely go watch it because they turned out really great. But I have this chipboard that was the backing for this package of loose leaf paper. And I thought I'd use the chipboard from it to make my tags because this backing paper that's in paper pads and things is really fabulous. So this is my desired size of a tag. This is 3.5 by 7 inches, and I can get 3 tags out of this. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to cut down my 3.5 inches 3 times, and then I'm going to trim my ends off to 7 inches, and I'll have my 3 tags. So once I have the basic templates, I need to decide what kind of a top I want to put on this. And for myself, I think I'm just going to cut a nice, kind of a deep angle. And then I'm going to use that corner that I've just cut off as a guide to just by flipping my pieces back and forth. I'm going to cut all the corners off so that they're all identical. And this will make sure that all my 3 cards are the same. And then I don't have to worry about one looking like it's out of place in this set. So I've got my 3, my angles are cut just how I like them, and it's time to punch a hole in these because they're tags. So I'm just going to kind of eyeball the center here to make it a little easier for me. And I'm going to punch the first card. And then I'm going to put the second one underneath it so I can punch it in the exact same hole. And then I'm going to do it again, and that's going to make these cards consistent. I mean, these are really, really good now. So I have this Flowers Volume 1 Collage Ephemera from Maramie's Small Art for my focal points because I'm going to do a garden theme. Look at the flowers in this. Absolutely. Just look at them. They're gorgeous. And I have this paper pad. It's a 6 by 6 inch. This is a Recollections. It had 180 sheets in it years and years ago. I love the patterns in here because there's 6 different patterns in each color combination, which is absolutely wonderful when you're doing something like this. So I am going to do each card with a different color background collage. And I think I'm going to do the first one in yellow. I use this paper a lot for collaging. That's why you see the half sheets. You don't need a whole sheet when you're just doing a bit of collage. So I just rip off a little bit. I think I need 3 to 5 pieces on each collage to just make it look like it's collaged. So I'm going to start gluing on the first one. And I've chosen this Harvest Gold mustard yellow. I don't know what you call it. I think it was Harvest Gold back in the day. Anyway, I've got this nice wide paintbrush in my Mod Podge, and I'm just going to get busy and I'm going to start doing this. So I thought it would be a good idea to put this piece of scrap baking paper underneath here to keep the glue off my desk. Normally on a project like this, I don't worry. I just go back and clean up later. And this didn't work real well. I'll show you why in a minute. But I start collaging on here, and I'm just putting each piece down, making sure I've got my glue underneath, and then I'm going over the surface as well. So just grabbing pieces and figuring out where I'm going to put it. Yeah, it's pretty easy to do a collage like this because all the colors are coordinated. I mean, all the colors are the same, actually, and then the patterns go together. You guys know what I mean. I'm just grabbing pieces of paper and looking for a place for them to fit more than I'm looking for the color and what it's going to look like. There's not going to be any book page on these. This is a garden theme. that I'm going for. So I thought just a nice, pretty paper collage background would be absolutely perfect for this project. So that's where I'm going with this. So I'm just going to put my pieces of yellow on here, and then I'm going to set this aside and let it dry, and I'm going to move on to the next color. So I'm done with this one, and look what happens. I glued it to that paper that I put down so that you could see. So now the back is pulling off of my tag. So yeah, putting paper down to protect your surface when you're gluing something is really not a good idea. So I thought pink would be a really good color to use for the next one because there's a lot of flowers that have shades of pinks and those light mauve colors and purples. I think purple, yellow, and pink are probably my favorite flowers in the garden. And yeah, so I thought I'd just go with those backgrounds. Those are the three colors that I choose. So I'm going to do the same thing here. I am going to just add in bits of pink until this is filled up. So does anybody else find that when they're putting a glue or Mod Podge or any kind of medium like that on chipboard that it's really, really absorbent, so it seems to take a lot? I love the chipboard because the background is so sturdy when you're using it. But yeah, it does seem to take a lot of glue. It soaks into the chipboard way more than it does on the paper when you're putting it on the paper. I mean, you can really tell, really, really tell. So I'm going to add a little more of this pink because it didn't matter how I tried to work that other piece in there. I had a space in the middle, and it was just an awkward shaped space too. So I've got a little patch on there, and I'm going to set this one aside, and I'm going to move on to the purpley color. So this shade it's kind of a purple, kind of a smoky gray. It's very, very pretty, and the camera is not doing it justice. It is just a really soft, pretty color. I absolutely love the shade of this, and it doesn't matter what pattern it's in, it's just gonna look fabulous. So I'll probably only use 2 or 3 pieces on here. But yeah, I'm gonna just cover this with a couple big pieces and add in just another little one maybe. I just wanted to make it look pretty, and the contrast in the pattern is what gives it a little bit of depth, a little bit of visual interest. Yeah, so I had to rip the end of this because I didn't want any. What I didn't want was any straight lines. I wanted all of the lines when I put my papers down to be torn edges that showed once I got it done. So I'm looking at this now and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, those 2 big pieces, they're too much. I need to divide that. So I'm just going to put another piece across the middle on the other side, coming from the other direction. But look at these colors. They are absolutely gorgeous, and I love them. So that's all my collage. I am going to just let this dry, trim the edges, make sure all my edges are glued down, and get ready for the next step. So this is what the cards look like so far, and they look really good. But do you see that shiny spot on the purple card there? That is because Mod Podge, even matte Mod Podge, has a shine to it. So I have a fix for that, but first I want to find all the flowers that I want to use for my focal images. I'm going to cut them out and I'm going to get ready to do the next step. So I've been looking and cutting, and I'm going to start gluing down. I've got things glued down and kind of arranged where I want them to go. And I want these to be pretty full cards. I don't want them to just be a background with one focal point. I want to put some pieces on here. I cut that little leaf off by mistake, and now I'm wondering, do I need to glue it on there, or do I need to add it somewhere else on the card? So it's all about arranging the pieces that I've got. Isn't that purple flower gorgeous on that soft, like grayish purple background? It's just so lovely. So yeah, I'm going to move that green leaf down so that I can kind of continue everything down the tag. And I'm going to Mod Podge this all on here. So a little story about Mod Podge and why I love it, because it's a great medium for gluing things down. And I'm going to tell you why I hate it. So I use my tags for bookmarks about 75-80% of the time. Sometimes I give them away. I don't know if other people use them for bookmarks, but Mod Podge has a tendency when it gets hot to become tacky again, to almost to reactivate. That's why you can use it on a surface, a flat surface, let it completely dry, lay a tissue over top, and then heat it up over the tissue with an iron, and it'll melt the Mod Podge and stick your tissue to your surface or a picture or whatever you're doing. I mean, I've seen so many people do it. But Mod Podge gets sticky when it gets hot. I don't have central air, and if I have a bookmark in a book on my bookshelf and the temperature goes up to 80 degrees, which it's done that a lot lately, then it gets really hot in my house, and I end up going to open a book up, and that tag or bookmark that I've made using Mod Podge has been glued right to my book page. There is nothing that's a bigger tragedy to me in my library, in my books, than ruining a book because I didn't have the foresight to think about the Mod Podge being reactivated. So I have started in the last year, every single thing that I glue down with Mod Podge, I put a full coat of gesso over top of it. Gesso doesn't reactivate and get tacky. It stays, I mean, in my experience so far, at least it's worked for me, putting the gesso over top of the Mod Podge, making sure I've got a really good sealing coat of gesso over it, and kind of repriming the surface after I'm done my art instead of before, that prevents accidents from happening like that. So I have so many journal pages that I go to open my journal, and because I did everything with Mod Podge, I can't get my pages open in my journals now, my art journals. And that's just really, really disappointing for me. So I go to open them, and I've torn off part of the surface of the page that I did. And yeah, it's a sad thing when your artwork gets ruined because of something like that. And I've watched other people seal things with gesso and tell you that it's going to be all right. Or sorry, seal things with Mod Podge and tell you that it's going to be all right, and it's not. And it might be, maybe they have central air and they've never experienced it. But yeah, just beware. So I'm gluing all my flowers down, and I need them to dry. I'm going to put a layer of gesso over top of them all, and I am going to go on to the next step here. So I decided that they weren't done. The flowers weren't enough. So what I did was I went through another collage ephemera book. I think it was the Spring Stories. And I cut out 3 little fairies, and I cut out 3 butterflies. And I'm going to add them to my tags. I also cut some leaves for the bottom of this one because it doesn't have any greenery on them. And the other 2 have greenery, and I think that really helps with the illusion of that whole garden theme. And then that's the gesso. I use Montmartre gesso on them. I've already put that over. So, and it's dry, and it does really help. It makes the surface feel so much better. So I'm going to have to do the gesso again because I'm going to glue on my fairies, and I'm going to glue on the butterflies. So I'm going to put these leaves just down here at the bottom. I'm trying to figure out where I want them to go. The greenery just helps, I think. And then I think I'm going to take all my fairies. I'm trying to decide on this first card how I'm going to work it out. So I'm going to put my leaves on first. Now I can put this on a plastic surface. This little white sheet is not paper. It's a piece of plastic packaging that I cut up. It works absolutely wonderful. It's like a vinyl. It was like a vinyl sheet that was between items in a box, and I cut it into little strips and little boxes. It was quite a big sheet, and use it for little things like this. I can just spray some water on here when I'm done and wash it off. It does keep my desk a little bit cleaner. I now wish I had left a piece of this a little bit bigger for behind larger projects. But so there goes my little fairy down in that corner. Oh my gosh, these are so stinking cute. I think these little additions just make the cards special. That butterfly is going up there at the top. So, so pretty. And I'm going to do the same thing on this one. I don't have any extra leaves to add, but I'm going to put my little fairy down at the bottom. I didn't get enough glue at the top of her. And I didn't choose all girl fairies either. I think I've got, I actually think I've got 2 girls and 1 little boy there. The first one was a little boy. So, and I'm not being careful about the colors of butterflies that I add either, because your butterfly doesn't match your garden. It's nicer sometimes if it pops, if it's a different color. Once I get these glued down, I am going to add a little bit more gesso just over the area where the butterflies and the fairies are. So when you add your gesso, I let this dry for a minute, guys, but when you add your gesso to the top of your piece, I tried the Liquitex gesso on this card first, and it's cloudy to me. That's the brand that I always used to use. And then just recently I found this Montmartre gesso. It's a clear gesso, and this is a texture gesso as well, but it is clear when it dries. It doesn't have a cloudy feel at all to it when it dries. Now I have another gesso that I like to use on projects. Like I used it on my postcards because it has a really smooth, silky feel and it's not textured. I like that as well. But I think it's an important aspect to your creations when you're making them that they be very matte. Like the surface be all consistent and that it's matte when it dries. I just think it looks so much better. So I've got my gesso on these and I'm going to let them dry, and then I'm going to words. Now these words are the Tim Holtz Big Chat, and I am going to start just adding the words that I want to my cards. So I put wander here. I'm just picking words and then deciding where they go. I kind of wanted something that went with the garden theme with the little fairies. I just didn't know what I wanted. So I put down possibility, and I found the word explore. So I thought wander and explore, and that's the one that has the little boy fairy. So I thought those were really cool words for him. And looking again, sometimes this is the hardest part for me, trying to figure out what sentiments to put on my pieces when I'm done. So this says grow everything, because it's a garden theme. Just grow everything. And then I needed something to go with possibility. And I just started glancing back through, and I was having a hard time with this one. But I put 2 words on the other ones, so I was determined. And then I found the word timeless. And that just seemed like the perfect word for me. So I have wander and explore, grow everything, and timeless possibility. So I think that these now need to be edged a little bit. So the first thing I'm going to do is go around the words. Um, I don't think I've ever put sentiments down without outlining them. I don't know if anybody else does that. Do you get into the habit of doing something and you just do it because you've always done it? I don't even know why I do this. I think it looks better. I think that's probably a personal choice. I know I watch other people do their art and they don't outline their words every time. But anyway, that's what happened to me. I think I just get into the habit and then I do it. And then I wanted some inking on the edge. I just didn't know what color I wanted. So I started on the pink card and I didn't like what I was doing. So I started with this, what is this called? This green. I completely forgot what this color green is, but it doesn't matter because I absolutely thought I was going to love it and I hated it. Just hated it. So then I thought, well, I'm going to go around with the vintage photo and turn it into brown. And then I thought it just looked like mud. I didn't like that either. So I went with the archival ink, this black, and I just went around and I tried to cover over what I'd already done on this card. So I almost ruined this card. I mean, it's kind of saved, but you can tell I screwed up on the edge of it. But anyway, I went around the black, and then all I have to do now is add some ribbon to this, and these tags are going to be done. Now, I did have this little length of ribbon, and it was just enough to cut into 3 pieces to make tags for this. So my tags are done, and I'm really happy with the way that they turned out, except for the inking around my pink card, and it wasn't a complete loss. So if you like the video, please give the video a thumbs up. Let YouTube know that you're watching, because those algorithms are really, really hard to make happy. Also, comment down below. Let me know what your favorite card is, and do you love, or what your favorite tag is, and do you love using tags for bookmarks? And have you ever had your Mod Podge stick? Oh my gosh. Also, if you haven't subscribed yet, I'd absolutely love if you did that before you left, so you can come back and see what else I'm up to. I've got all kinds of new things planned for the future, and I'd love to have you join me. So thanks for watching, everybody. Have a really wonderful day. I'll see everybody in the next video, and until then, bye-bye for now.